Yo, what's shaking, everybody? Welcome back to the Orange Bloods Texas football channel. I'm Geoff Ketchum. That's Anwar Richardson. It is a Monday overreaction show brought to you by the rogueshop.com. Now, Anwar's got some overreactions. I've got a few overreactions. That's what today's show is all about. But let me tell you about the Rogue Shop real quick, just in case you're having problems sleeping, pain anxiety, mild depression, all that stuff. Like the rogueshop.com will treat you. This week, they've got a 30% off deal for your favorite sleeping aid, the new and improved 100 milligrams Delta 8 gummies.
I love them.
Not hate the gummies really do. Like, that's for me, the gummies are all about they're like a really good PM. they just are. They're great for sleep. Type in Orange Bloods into the discount code for 10% off the already massive 20% off discount for those gummies. And don't forget, if you spend over $75 with the rogueshop.com, the sponsor of this show, you get free shipping. Anwar, you participated in some Rogue Shop over the weekend, right?
Hell yeah. Hell, there's a reason why I messaged you at 8:30 this morning, asking like, hey, I'm recording. It's because of Rogue. We had New Year's Eve and stuff, and I was kind of did some low-key stuff at the house, didn't get a chance to get a lot of sleep, recovering the following day. I was like, man, I am tired. Took some Rogue last night, man. Next thing I knew, I was like, oh, here's the garbage truck. I feel great.
Anwar, I think both of us have overreactions lined up today.
Yeah.
Do you have, because I feel like it wasn't like a whole lot of Texas-centric stuff happened over the weekend. The Longhorn program, for all intent and purposes, I'm going to say took the weekend off, but they hire Brennan Marion and they kind of took the weekend off. It was New Year's. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on other than looking at players in the portal and stuff like that. Do you have a dominant, this is our lead overreaction?
Okay, well, I got a personal overreaction until I get to that question, okay?
Okay.
Right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple of, and this is, and I want to get your feedback on this, and I want to get the audience feedback on this. So just allow me a couple of minutes to go off topic. We'll get back on topic. So a few days ago,
advice for Anwar in the comments section.
I got a question, and this is more, and it's an overreaction too, as well. Okay.
A
few days ago, I celebrate my birthday, right? Bringing in the young age of 48, right? And I have a friend of mine who says, hey, for your birthday, going to bring you a dozen donuts, right? From a donut shop. I'm like, thank you. That's really nice. And so they come over that morning to drop off some donuts. Oh man, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Come on inside, right? That was what a thoughtful thought that was. So I get into the kitchen, I open up the box, Ketch, and I'm like, wow, look at these donuts. And I see a half-eaten donut that's in there. And I go, wait, what happened to this donut? Did someone at the shop do something? And she goes, oh, I took a bite out of one. I go, wait, this is half of it's gone. And I'm like, oh, maybe I took a few bites. So this person took a few bites of the donut, then put it back in to my gift for donuts, and then handed it to me. They didn't buy their own donut. They just decided to take some of mine because maybe they felt like I bought it, so I could take it. So my question for my overreaction was, is it still the thought that counts when you eat someone's gift before you give it to them? Or did they kind of get deducted a little points for eating someone's gift before you gave it to them?
I have all the answers for you, I think. Okay. First of all, let's make clear about the donut gift. It's a wonderful, nice little thought, but that's kind of all it is. Like, it's not a big gift. Okay. So at the end of the day, we are going to nitpick this gift, but we're nitpicking something that's really about the thought.
Correct.
And so the thought didn't not happen. Like, this person thought enough of you where was it a she?
Yes. Good friend, female friend, yes.
She probably wouldn't just buy you a gift, right? Because I have to say, I'm not close enough friends with just about anybody where I'm buying gifts for birthdays other than family members. So she thought of you in a way that is, I think, above and beyond. But I think that eating half the donut and putting it in the box is really tacky. So it sets up a real conflicting set of things, because on one hand, this person thought enough of you to go out of their way to buy you donuts, which is a nice, simple little thing. Let's not go overboard, but hey, at least they're thinking of you.
Yes.
But to not have the self-awareness to realize you just in general, and if she was buying that for the office as just, hey, I was thinking of getting everybody, I just picked up donuts for everybody. You don't leave. I'm having to like sit on my phone. It won't stop going off. You wouldn't leave a half-eaten donut in the box. It's not sanitary. Like,
no, like we're friends. We're not like,
Yes.
like it's, you put your food mouth stuff back in the box and it was like, here, you can have this and for the kids. I'm like, oh no.
Now, I don't mean to get gross. This only changes if you guys have a relationship where fluid's already.
Yeah. No, it's not that. I said
so. It's just, you know what I mean? Like her
buddy.
spit, if you were dating her spit on that donut.
Correct.
You messing up the rest of the donuts by proxy wouldn't bother you.
No.
But if this is just a regular old person, it's like, take your half-ass eaten donut and look, because the thing is, like, if there were 11 donuts in there instead of 12, I'd still make note of it. Like, damn, you had to get a donut out of my gift. You couldn't just get a dozen donuts and get an extra.
Correct.
I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat my own donut instead of taking away from the gift. I don't know.
All right, that was just my question.
It's a weird one. I think that she gets it at a girl, seriously, because how many other people bought you gifts?
A couple others. I got some Tiff treats from one of my friends that sent me something. I had this person on OB actually send me $10 on Venmo so I could have a drink. Yes, if you guys want
she's one of a handful of people in your life that just thought enough. So that means something. But girl, you can't be so tacky as to A, eat a donut from the box, and B, eat half the damn donut and stick it back in the box.
And they give it to me, and then they'll even warn me, and I just open it. By the way, Carrie Humphrey sent me $10. And now I'm just like, oh, I didn't know how to process.
She left? Like, was she still in?
It was still there. That's how I knew.
Okay.
I was like, oh, let's go. And then like I took a bite, and I was like, well, this is more than a bite. Like half of it's gone.
Well, what if it had just been a bite?
I mean,
the act is the act.
Like once you got it, you're in the car, you open up the box at a stoplight or something. You're like, I want that donut. And here's the thing. What if I wanted that donut, to be quite honest with you?
It's like getting a gift card for $25 and finding out that somebody already spent $5 on it.
Yeah, okay.
It's like,
I don't want to bog. Yeah, I don't want to bog down the overreaction Monday, but I just had to throw that out to everyone.
I have a University of Texas football recruiting overreaction.
Okay.
People had to stop watching these all-star games and making just what I don't even it's like you watch the game and you've got a TV and you just make these wild declarations about guys that guys are either, oh, that guy's awesome or he sucks based on a fake game with bad officials and really no time to prepare. And some guys have been playing football all, throughout December, November. Some guys haven't played since early November. Like there's all these little things. And, on the UT side yesterday in the Under Armour All-America game, I'm watching Kelvin Banks play, and I thought he was pretty good. I thought Kelvin Banks looked like an offensive lineman playing in one of these games where, it's not even his offense. It's like something he learned on Tuesday. It's not, like if he was dominating, you would go, okay, well then he's dominating. But That doesn't really happen. He's going up against other 5-stars. They're good players now.
Yeah.
But fans watch those games and they see what they're going to see, and it's all they're going to see. There are no flaws. If you ever say, well, I thought a little up and down, a little questionable here and there, it's like you've talked about the guy's mother. Like, just fans have to stop being so much like fans. Sometimes you have to listen to yourself. Like, oh, well, nobody else singles the guy out. Kelvin Banks in particular is the guy that I'm talking about. Nobody else nationally is really on any level singled him out as a guy that had the best week of any offensive lineman that was at the Under Armour All-America game. At some point, you have to take that evidence in and go, okay, well, maybe he wasn't the best guy there. It's not the biggest indictment in the world, but it's weird. It just annoys me that fans can't have rational conversations about football prospects. Because
what would you see? Like, where were you seeing, for example, Ketch?
Well, so somebody from Rivals, Adam Friedman, in making some commentary about Kelvin Banks, thought he was just okay during the game, which I don't know that I thought that was completely fair, but he mentioned an up and down week of practice. Watch any of the one-on-ones sessions from the week, and there were times when Kelvin Banks struggled in pass protection. And Texas fans are just so sensitive. It's like, well, he was playing right tackle for the first time in his life. Well, no, I mean, he played left tackle this year, played right tackle this week. Duly noted, but it's not a get out of jail card for everything. And I thought, as someone who has the opinion that Kelvin Banks, this may be my own confirmation bias, by the way, I think Kelvin Banks, the 5-star prospect, is more of a 5-star prospect in the interior than he is as a tackle. And during the week, he struggled some in pass protection at tackle, at right tackle. And if you watch those drills, I didn't come away thinking to myself, well, the only thing that needs to happen is he needs to move to the left side. Like, he's a work in progress in pass protection against elite players. Like, that's the jump that's being made. It's one of the things in evaluating that is really difficult, because sometimes it's hard to accurately guess how well is that 300-pound man going to move his feet against objects moving at him at rates and speeds that he's never seen before. It's a little bit of a guesswork. And I think that there's going to be a really interesting thing that happens with Texas football. And I think in the fall and even in the spring is where Texas tries to fit some of these young freshman offensive linemen. Texas has needs. And I wonder if its needs somewhat get in the way of the best possible development for some of these offensive linemen, based on trying to stick them into positions that you have needs. If you're putting Kelvin Banks at left tackle this year because you don't trust Christian Jones and you didn't go out and get anybody in the portal, I think everyone's got to mentally prepare themselves for what it is that you're then asking that guy to do. And Texas fans want to believe the 5-star hype so badly that it means that they can snap their fingers and a guy's just ready-made to be great. It's like it's like, okay, you're going to ask the guy to come in and start right away. I mean, that's a big ask. They're not all Xavier worthy. And to put him at the most demanding position on the offensive line in his first year, mostly out of necessity because you don't trust the other guys you have, I just feel like everybody needs to wrap their heads around these guys still have a growing and maturation process. And I thought that's what this week revealed. Hey, this just in. Kelvin Banks is immensely talented. He has some work to do. But in saying that he has some work to do, some Texas fans reacted in such a repulsed way. Like, how dare you? And it's like, well, if you have that attitude, how are you going to react the first time that guy struggles at all as a true freshman, which is bound to happen because as great as Xavier Worthy was this season, there were games this year where he just didn't have the biggest output in the world. It happens. And I feel like there's just some reality with regards to this recruiting class that Texas fans may not quite have.
Well, the thing is, though, that's interesting, though, Ketch. You've always used the 5-star numbers to equate to NFL, prospects. And so technically from a hit rate, Kelvin Banks is, no matter what, is going to be way above the majority of his counterparts, or probably said and done, way above the majority of people probably at that an Armour game, right? I'm sure there's a collection of 5-star talent. I don't know how many showed up, but at the end of the day, he's a guy you project 3 to 4 years with that star to be in the NFL, an NFL draft pick, right?
And probably like in the first 4 rounds, like every year in the NFL draft, 5 stars populate the first few rounds, and then it kind of tails off. So like, not only do they hit, to your point, but when they hit, they usually hit at, first or second day levels, which in my mind is pretty elite.
Oh, correct. I mean, when you consider how many people are playing college football, we start getting a percentage of that. It is really elite. So I can understand why a Texas fan may see it and be like, come on, man, a couple of days of practice. To your point that you started off with, Ketch, being thrown into a new environment, no system of any place, trying different things, experimenting in real time, and everyone's seeing the experiment in real time. But I don't think Kelvin Banks, looks like a guy that you would say, based off of this, what happened in Under Armour game, you're like, ooh, there should be some concern here. I think everyone still takes a step back, right? And says, all right, at the end of the day, he's still going to be fine once he gets here, get to the system, the program, good coaching, all those type of things, right? I would still, in my mind, I think he's a day one starter. I don't know if that's in your mind, but from my mind, it happens. And, when the season opener it hits, that's who we see.
This is where you and I are going to have our disconnect. I just still think asking, and I think Devon Campbell's the best offensive lineman possibly in the country, certainly in the state of Texas. And he performed that way throughout the week in Orlando at the Under Armour game. Everybody raving about how well he played. I have a hard time with offensive linemen saying with certainty that no matter how high I rank them, that they're day one starters at a program that has aspirations. Now, look, you and I can have a conversation where it's like, look, this is all about the 2023 season anyway. It's a means to an end. And all that matters is that when Texas is ready to be good under Steve Sarkisian's players, when he's got his guys, that they're ready to go and can run instead of walk. I'm not even saying that's, a poor, that might be the way to go. It might be that Kelvin Banks is the day one starter in 2022 because you are thinking about the 2023 and 2024 seasons. And because his upside, you're just willing to live with whatever growing pains exist. But my experience with the best of the best offensive linemen that I've ever seen at Texas, the 5 stars that have really hit, it takes I saw more early on. It's weird. I saw more from Connor Williams and Sam Cosmi early on, certainly from Connor Williams, than I would have expected. The Justin Blalocks of the world and the Leonard Davises of the world and the Johnathon Scotts of the world, 5-star offensive line prospects that were all Americans. None of those guys came in from Jump Street and just held down a position from day one. It might just be that my brain thinks in historical terms to such degree that that's a me problem, but I just can't help but worry about these guys a little bit, that the need to have guys on the field that are just anything's better than what you had potentially puts you in a position where you're doing guys a little bit of harm by asking too much too soon. Kelvin Banks is going to one day be, I think, a player that goes in the first 3 rounds of an NFL draft, but he might not hit that level until his second or third year. And, I think the expectations for him, fair or not, is he's got to come in and improve this football team at a position that's really hard to play. I guess my expectations aren't that he's going to play that well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would disagree with that. And there's a couple of reasons why, right? So we've seen over the past few years, as I was writing down some stuff, we've seen Connor Williams start as a freshman, right? We've seen Patrick Vahe start as a freshman.
I mean, he wasn't good.
Okay, but and you've seen Zach Shackelford start as a freshman. So what I'm saying is the whole you have to like sit and wait thing. I'm not quite sure you have to Ketch. And I think what this really boils down to, and maybe it's another part of the conversation, is what really becomes your expectations of the 2022 season. Because
that's the point.
Yeah. So for me, and we may look at it out of a different lens, my expectations for the 2022 season isn't necessarily a team that I'm looking at and saying I'm expecting them to compete for a Big 12 title. I'm saying this is a rebuild, and you're probably better off served throwing out some of these young guys and learning through them, aka 2015. Because I think if you tell yourself anything other than this is a rebuild, you're lying to yourself.
Anwar, real quick, well, you and I are on the same page. What you and I are having the conversation about is when we get to August, 7-5 is going to sound like a terrible season in the mind of Texas fans. That's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is if you're a Texas fan and in your mind next season is 9-3, or can Texas do what Baylor did and get itself into a Big 12 championship game or win it? What I'm telling you is if you're playing a Kelvin Banks next year at left tackle, let's say, you can play him and it's an investment for the future, but it means that you're going to you might like Zach Shackelford and Patrick Vahe weren't good as freshmen. Now we can argue until we're blue in the face how good they became and just how much that freshman season helped them. I think it did Connor Williams a lot of good. So, I mean, every kid's going to be an isolated instance, but at the end of the day, you and I are on the same page. Our heads with regards to what Texas football in 2022 will probably be is one thing. I think where we are in 8 months when Texas fans have gone through the offseason and convinced themselves that, oh, well, nobody in the Big 12 is bringing back anybody that's any better than us. And look at our recruiting rankings versus the other schools. And they will convince themselves. They will say, we are more talented than anybody on our roster. And they'll start saying things like, you know what? We'll probably be favored in every game by Vegas, except for the Alabama game and the Oklahoma. Like, they'll start saying these things, and some of them are based in reality. I'm pointing out that if you're at a position where you're having to throw freshman offensive linemen in as starters, your expectation should simply be 5-star or not. They're at the bottom of their developmental chart as a college player. And you just have to factor that into how you process what your expectations are. Can't lose your mind if Kelvin Banks gives up a couple of sacks to the best pass rusher in the Big 12 because you're trying to fast forward. Like, I don't want to see Kelvin Banks play tackle against Alabama next year. I'll just say that right now. He's not ready for that. But that's not a slam. That's my larger point. To say that.
I don't know if anybody on the team would be ready for that.
Then there's that.
I don't know who else on the line that I would say that's your winning matchup. And that's why I would take the learning process.
Am I like a mama bird trying to protect these freshmen? Maybe that's it. Like, I'm babying them to a certain extent, but it's only because I don't have sky high expectations for them in year one. When I do have high expectations for them by year 3, certainly.